Jetpack Brandon. It is an honor. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
Good, good. Over the other side of the world, how's life rolling through for you over there?
Oh man, it's rolling. I just had to activate my jetpack.
Yeah.
Just have to activate my jetpack when things get hard, man. It's definitely rolling though. It's remembering. It's a lot about remembering the spiritual practices, honestly. But other than that, man, everything's been good. I've been blessed. I've definitely been getting blessed with a bunch of opportunities that I've been trying to manifest since the age of 19. So yeah, it's
And
been
how
pretty
old are
good.
you?
I'm 30.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I'm
how's that
30.
11-year manifestation?
Yeah,
How's
11
that
years.
rolling through?
Oh, yeah. Never give up. That's all I can say. Never give up, man. Yeah, because I put my last album out a year ago and like two, 2020, January 2020. And January 3rd, 2020. And I'm just now starting to like starting to gain some type of traction. So yeah,
Yeah, it's
just never
beautiful,
give up.
man. I've been really enjoying diving into it. I love everything about it. It's
Mm,
really masterfully done. It's got a great vibe to it. I love
thank you.
the the joy you bring through it as well, huh? It's a really
Yeah,
beautiful, beautiful offering.
thanks. I didn't know
Mm.
you had listened, man. Thanks.
Oh yeah, of course. It's great.
Thanks.
I don't normally get deep into hip hop. Actually, I do, but I'm a
Mhm.
bit like selective.
Right,
It's not deeply nostalgic for me. Like
right. Hmm.
more like rock and roll and all that is very nostalgic for me. Whereas hip hop kind of took time to get into my get into my body, and so I'm a little
Hmm.
bit like selective and picky, you could say. But I love it, man. Good work.
Oh man, I appreciate that. Thank
Hmm.
you a lot. Thank you a lot.
So you said
Thanks.
the journey began at 19. Can you share what happened at 19?
Oh man. Well, the music journey began at 19.
Right.
Yeah, that's the music journey began at 19. I just wanted to make music on a higher level. And I didn't really take it serious until I came across, I don't know if you know who J. Cole is.
Yeah.
Okay, he's from Fayetteville, just like I am. And I was in the mall and I came across him. And when I came across him, when I met him, that's when I started taking music serious. That's when I was like, because before I was just making music, it was just something that I was good at. It was just something to rhyme words and make someone say, oh, like, like, oh, did he just, oh, like, little punchlines and stuff like that was just so easy. So I was just like mess around and make music. And then when I met him, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna take this thing serious. So yeah, I mean, I was taking it serious and everything like that, and then I might stop because of I'm young and I was broke and wanted a job, and and then you start talking to girls and stuff, so you start getting off track. But for some reason, music always just kept pulling me. It's just like if Alan Watts had that quote, "If money were no object, what would you be doing?" And it would be music. It would be music or creating some type of art. So and then he said, and whatever your answer to that is, that's what you should be doing right now. You know, so yeah, so music just always just pulled me. It's just really inevitable, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And along the journey, because it is challenging, isn't it? It can be
Yeah.
challenging to take that teaching that you just mentioned. If money was no object, what would you be doing? It's like it takes such perseverance and clarity. Like, have you had practices to help you stay true to yourself, and in those moments of, I don't know, do you have moments of doubt and moments of
Oh yeah.
can I do this? Like, what do you do with that to help keep you on track,
Oh
keep you
man.
inspired?
Self confidence. I mean, like you believing in yourself in this worldly manner is going to be ego.
Mhm.
You doubting yourself in this worldly manner is going to be ego. So it's just like choose a, like self-confidence is very very important. Ramdas said that the mind is a lousy master but a wonderful servant. So yeah, so definitely um my meditation is definitely boosted my confidence, because I was able to see the thoughts and pick the thoughts that I wanted to believe as my desires, and our desires create our universe. So I was able to see that and go with the thoughts, because I think I make pretty good music, but it took me a while to believe, truly, 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 truly believe. I had already believed, and then I stopped believing, and then it took me a while to truly, truly get back to that belief that, man, I'm pretty good. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, like, yeah, I'm pretty good at what I do, and so so my practices were definitely as far as staying focused and getting on task, um definitely would be just self confidence definitely. As
Yeah.
far as yeah, continuing with music would have to be all self-confidence, definitely.
Yeah, that's massive. And I mean, so many of us have been conditioned to try to cultivate a like false sense of confidence, that egoic confidence that you were speaking of, where
Mm-hmm.
it's just so fickle, it's so fragile, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That type of confidence that often flickers from the deflated aspects of the ego, like you were talking about, or the inflated aspects of the ego. And it
Mm-hmm.
just, if it's not getting constant praise, it's just
Mm-hmm.
so it crumbles away very, very
Yeah.
quickly. So that meditation practice or some kind of practice to regulate the nervous system and quiet the
Mm-hmm.
mind and get
Right.
out of that ego construct, it's key. It's key, isn't it?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
in a way that's not like disassociative or like spiritually bypassing, it's so crucial, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, 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 very crucial. Um, and I honestly, if it wasn't for coming across Ram Dass, I probably wouldn't have like known about using the ego. You know what I'm saying? Like I probably
Yeah.
wouldn't have known about that. And honestly, he didn't even really preach too much about using the ego. He just said it in that one lecture, that one lecture that I heard about the mind being a wonderful servant but a lousy master, and I think he was just quoting somebody. I think Eva Kananda, I think he was Eva Kananda. He was quoting someone, but it before, like when I first got on my spiritual journey, it was like, like first of all, you're alone. You're not around any teachers or anything like that. All you have are like the four agreements and the power of now, like
Yeah.
and you're just sitting there and you're trying to meditate or whatever, but you don't know if you're doing it right and things of that nature. But you know that you're reading all these books that talk about the mind and what the mind does and all this other stuff, and you're like, you have questions, you're like, oh, is the mind okay? And you might feel like it's not, you might feel like you're supposed to do nothing, and which I mean sometimes you are supposed to do nothing, but I'm probably gonna quote him a lot, but what Ram Dass says, like, we incarnated in America for a reason, so it's definitely like a blessing, and we definitely our souls have some type of, I wouldn't say souls have desire, but we chose this incarnation for a reason, we have some type of duty to apply in this world. So um where was I going with that? I forgot what we were saying.
Just keep going. I like where
Yeah,
you're going. It's all
yeah,
good.
yeah. It's like what was I saying? What were we talking about? Oh
We
yeah,
were
with the
talking
spiritual
about,
practice. Yeah, the
yeah.
spiritual practice when you first
Mm.
begin, it's so vast. And yet and oh man, it's like everything is flushed out of you and you feel so empty, but yet fulfilled, but yet clueless.
Right. Yeah.
Clueless,
Hmm.
clueless. You feel so clueless. It's like you have so many questions. You have so many questions. If your ego doesn't jump in too fast, you'll have a lot of questions. You'll have a lot of questions. You'll probably ask questions that you've already, like once you meet someone, you probably ask questions that you've already read in a book, and you and you're still gonna ask that question. Just it's just like it's like it's because it's so fresh and so new. It's just like, do you trust it? Do you trust it? So how many times do you have to hear it in order to believe it? So yeah,
Quite a
it's
few, huh? I mean,
yeah, yeah.
what seems to be a common experience is like that initial like exuberation, that initial high when you start
Mm,
reading, The Power
yeah,
of Now and the Four Agreements and those initial books, and having your initial experiences of
yeah.
insight and clarity. Like it's so such a big experience. And I remember that first like year or two on the path, and I hear it from a lot of people where it's
Mm-hmm,
so it's like a new life really of
mm-hmm,
awe and wonder and questions and inspiration.
mm-hmm,
But it seems to be a common experience. And then after that first year or two, a kind of plateau in which people either go back to old ways and old traits of distraction and addiction,
mm-hmm,
or go even deeper,
mm-hmm,
go even
mm-hmm.
deeper, because I think it's a common assumption that's just up, 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 feeling
Right,
better and better and better and better. But
right.
along the path are going to be plateaus and obstacles and challenges in
Mm-hmm,
which it's just more karma, more opportunities to burn
mm-hmm,
through even more karma and keep growing. But
mm-hmm,
it's good to note that early in the path, because I hadn't heard much about that conversation. I do recall Ramdas talking about like Dark Night of the Soul and all of
mm-hmm,
that, but you don't know until you're there. And
mm-hmm,
man, it can be deep, dark, and real, and
mm-hmm. Yeah.
just part of the Earth School experience, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, yeah. It's like you say, you don't know until you're there, and then like even when you're there, it's just like, how do
Still
you
don't know.
know unless you like? It's so like it's such a blessing that someone like is there and they come across Ram Dass like quickly. If like that's their first, you know, because Ram Dass wasn't my first, you know. Ram Dass was more of articulating and saying everything that I had seen and I thought I was crazy, you know? And
Yeah,
you're
I
like,
do.
yeah,
Yeah, it took me a little
so
while as well. He wasn't my first either.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Um, I needed more like abrupt motivation when I was
mm-hmm,
younger. It started
mm-hmm,
at like 15, in which I was just burnt out. I was taking way too many drugs at a young age, and I
mm-hmm,
needed my butt kicked into
mm-hmm.
inspiration. So my thing was Tony Robbins.
Oh
And
yeah.
I
That's a
still have
butt
deep
kicking.
appreciation for him. He's a great man. But I
Yeah.
needed that loudness and that, come on, you can do it,
Yeah.
motivation. And then into like Wayne Dyer, and
Mm,
when the window opened to more mystical teachings. But I didn't
mm,
quite at that time hear what Ram Dass was talking about. I couldn't quite hear it,
mm,
but I do remember an attraction and a magnetism and a curiosity, but I couldn't quite hear it at the time. It's quite interesting to look back. So how about for
Mm-hmm.
you, Brandon? Like,
Yeah.
can you remember when you were first vibing with Ramdas?
Oh man. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like somebody's like, "How did you come across Ram Dass?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was the internet though, but I remember yeah, he just kept popping up everywhere, kept popping up everywhere. And then I was just like, all right, you know what, we'll go ahead and grab this book. Be Here Now. People are talking about it and stuff like that. So I went and bought the book. And then I read the white pages, the first part, like his entire like little short story of his life. And I read that and I was, oh, okay, that was pretty interesting. Then it started popping my brain about psychedelics. It just started. And then after that, I looked through the brown part and I was like, what? You know, I was like, huh? And I just didn't get it. I just didn't get it. And started listening to the lectures, and the lectures is what set it off. The lectures is what set it off, and it wasn't the first listen. It wasn't the second. It went in one ear and out the other. Second one ear out the other. Third one ear out, and I just kept listening and kept listening and kept listening and kept listening and kept listening. And then one day he said some line, and I said, "Does he mean? Does he mean this? Does he mean that?" And I rewind it, and he'll say it, and and I'm like,
I think that'd be a good
I
song. I got to stop you right there. That felt like a potential song of just dragging out and just keep listening and just keep listening. That felt good. You could have turned that
yeah.
into the total song. Sorry, keep
And keep
going.
listening and keep listening and keep yeah. So yeah, I was yeah, so I listened and I was like I kept listening and it basically it just started he started saying things that I've seen on like weed trips. I'm not like a big weed guy because it's just it just it jetpack, I take off like
It's
crazy.
for
But
real. Weed
yeah,
it's powerful, man.
yeah, yeah,
Again, in my teenage years, I smoked shitloads of it. I smoked it before
yeah.
school. I smoked it at school, after school, before bed. I was on it
Wow.
constantly. But now I am so sensitive to it. It's powerful stuff, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm so sensitive. I can't like. I'm like some people have to smoke to get spiritual. I have to be sober.
Mhm.
I have to be sober. I mean, I'm gonna be spiritual either way around. But anyways, so he basically he basically he'll describe something that like he had on a trip of like what's it called mescaline
Mescaline.
mescaline
Yeah. Cactus.
or yeah, okay, or
Hmm.
acid, you know what I'm saying? He would talk about that, or psilocybin. And I was like, this is before any type of psychedelics that before anything I've ever done. And I was just like, it sounds like he's describing that thing that I saw when I was high that time off of weed at that party, and I was like freaking out, or it sounds like he's talking about that time when I was like in the car and the entire world went transparent. The entire world went transparent, and I just seen like it looked like the matrix coding, but I think it was really just atoms that I was seeing. I think I just seen vibrations basically. But yeah, and I freaked out. I said, oh my gosh, this is what people see before they die. And I was like, so since I'm seeing it, that means I'm dying. And I like freaked out. But that was before
Right.
any type of spiritual practices. That was before any type of spiritual book. That was like that was before all that stuff, So listening to Ron Dawson talk about his experiences and stuff, and the type of thoughts I would get, let me know that it was real. It let me know it was real, and away from psychedelics. I relate more to Ram Dass away from psychedelics than, than talk about psychedelic talks. I relate to Ram Dass when he just talks about self-work, or he just talks about the perception that you get when you're viewing the world and the world is just viewing you. And he calls it
Mm.
mind nets, like if you're walking down the street, someone says, "Oh, look at that homeless person," that's just them throwing out their mind net. And if you like get caught up in it, you become that homeless person. You know what I'm saying? But you got to understand that that's their mind, that's their universe, that's what their perception is, and you can continue walking in gold. What he say? He said that his teacher wrote on a slate. He said, if you wear shoe leather, the whole entire world is covered in shoe leather.
Right. Yeah.
you know if he said, if you believe I'm God, the entire world is God. So yeah, so it those type of those are the ones where I'm like, that those are
Mhm.
the ones. I honestly, I've done DMT, uh and I've microdosed shrooms. I've never done acid. And I honestly think the reason why I have not done it yet is because I came across Ram Dass, and it felt like
Mm.
I just did not need to do it. It was no,
Yeah,
like,
that's
why?
good.
It's all here. Like,
Yeah, well
no pun
put.
intended.
Wow.
Yeah, no pun intended, but it's all here. Like, it's like, it was just like, yeah, but because I definitely had the opportunity, but it's just it's all here. And it was just
I
like,
hear
yeah,
you.
yeah, like, we don't miss out on the present moment. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah. So Ram Dass is definitely, yeah, man, let me know I wasn't crazy.
Mm.
And that's important, because being crazy is like probably one of the hardest, um things. Or not being crazy, being called crazy is one of the
Right.
hardest things to, like, that's a pretty mean thing. That's a pretty mean thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, has that been your experience getting called crazy along the path?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it'd be crazy. You'd be getting called crazy about you. Guess what I got called crazy about?
I don't know. What?
I got called crazy because I was telling people don't eat fast food.
Right.
Yeah, and I
Really?
was telling, yeah, and I was telling them, like, we got to eat like organic food, real food. And I was saying this, mind you, though, I was saying this back in, like, I don't know. This is before USDA had a stamp that said USDA organic. Before Walmart was selling
Mm.
organic foods and things of that nature. And
You're
people,
crazy.
yeah, you're crazy. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not
Uh,
buying that pack of chicken that costs
right.
$8. I'm gonna buy this one that costs $3. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, bro, like, if you own a McDonald's, was my perception. I was young. This wasn't even like a spiritual. I think it was more of a spiritual awakening, but this was like before the spiritual path and everything, or before I was aware of being on a spiritual path. Um, I was like, I was like sitting there. I was like, if you own a McDonald's and you're guaranteed almost close to $1 million a year, would you be spending money on a dollar burger? Would you be spending money on a dollar burger? Or would you like, and how much does it cost? I don't think you would be eating a dollar burger. I'm pretty sure if you're making close to $1 million a year profit off of a McDonald's, you wouldn't eat the own food that you're
Mhm.
selling. And then also, if you're able to sell a burger for $1, which I heard they got rid of the dollar menu, but if you're able to sell a burger for $1, how much does it cost for you to actually make that burger?
Yeah, no
And
kidding.
if Yeah, and then if the ingredients are that cheap, what is it doing to our bodies? And then and also, what is it doing to our minds? And
Mhm.
that's how I really looked at it. And that's when I just stopped. I came up with this brand called Fuck Fast Food. And And yeah, and that just was my thing. Fuck fast food. And I had like this logo of a burger with fries coming out, and the fries was like in the form of a middle finger. They were like forming a middle finger coming out the burger and stuff like that. And the fingernail polish was like ketchup dripping down and stuff. And then I got on my spiritual journey, and I didn't want to promote I didn't want to promote bad stuff. I was
Mhm.
like, man, I'm reading about love. I'm practicing love. I don't want to read about love, practice love, and then talk about the same stuff I was talking about, you know. So
Mhm.
I started talking about love. I started talking about love, you know, even if I'm not preaching love from the heart or love for a girl, I'm still like, but I'm not talking about anything like negative about killing people or anything, you know what I'm saying? Anything like bad like that. And it I changed my company name from Fuck Fast Food to Love Burger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I changed it to Love Burger, and that felt good. That felt very, 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 very good. It went from Fuck Fast Food to Love Burger, and I did that before. And just another one, I did that, and then next thing you know, I'm listening to a Ram Dass lecture. They actually took an excerpt, this exact thing that I'm about to say. They took that and put it on the Instagram, the Ram Dass Instagram, like earlier this week. And he said he was talking about polarities, and he said, "Don't you see?" He's like, it, it, "I can't be anti-war. You have to be pro peace and not anti-war, because if you're anti-war, you're creating more of what you're trying to get rid of. You
Oh,
know,
oh yeah.
And he was talking about I don't think they put that part, but he has a part where he's talking about people smoking cigarettes, and they like and they stop smoking cigarettes, and then they get addicted to not smoking cigarettes.
Right.
I haven't smoked a cigarette in 18 days, 14 hours, 35 seconds. So like, he said eventually you're gonna die from not smoking cigarettes. Like they're
Yeah.
like that's what like that's gonna be their thing.
It's a
But
trip,
yeah.
huh?
Mm-hmm.
But I get it. Like I remember also when I was starting to get healthy and starting to get inspired, it's very it's an ego trip to, well, even out of love and out of care, you want other people to make those healthy changes. But it's so true.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're coming onto them and fuck fast
Mm-hmm.
food, like just pushing it, preaching,
Mm-hmm.
it's just not effective, isn't it? Isn't it? It just makes them eat even more
Not at
fast
all.
food. It makes them even more righteous and angry, and that,
Not at all.
I mean, and we're seeing so much of that right now with the
Yeah.
the tribalism going on. Talk about polarities. I mean, the polarities are just so inflamed right now of red and blue and left and right, and
Mm-hmm.
different beliefs, and even within those
Mm-hmm.
polarities there's different tribes, and it's a volatile time right now with the internet and how we can really reinforce any belief, any fact. We can reinforce it even if it's total bullshit, and
Mm-hmm.
create these echo chambers of tribe,
Mm-hmm.
which is good, but also dangerous, I think, as well. And
Mm-hmm.
to
It's very
create
instant,
these
huh?
very instant and
Mm-hmm.
interesting times with that. And once again, coming back to how crucial it is to cultivate a wisdom, a clarity, a compassion that helps
Mm-hmm.
us go beyond that divide, these extreme polarities. And with that, I mean, we can truly even see how, I mean, I've got dear friends that have just got sucked into very extreme and angry ideas about the world. And these are quote unquote spiritual folks with a spiritual name and
Mm-hmm.
all. And they
Yeah.
are, kind of like that fuck fast food thing. It feels very
Yeah.
right. It feels right on. It's got a mission. You want to help
Right.
people. But when it's done with that anger and that just extreme
Yeah.
righteousness, it just
Mhm.
doesn't work, huh?
Man, yeah. It's man, yeah. It's
Mm.
the
Unless we
the
want to
universe. Hmm?
create even more, unless we want to create even more drama and tribalism, then it does work, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It does. Yeah. I mean,
Mm.
we definitely have people out here that do want to create it. Then you have people out
Mhm.
here that unconsciously create it.
Yeah.
You know, they just doing it. And like I said in the song "Stoop Kid," song that I have called "Stoop Kid," I said, I said, what's worse than a person watching Illuminati videos and now they think they woke? You know, and I said, I wait when you're no longer in your mind. That's what I call awake.
Mm.
See, I was there too. That's why I can relate. But I started thinking clear when I started to meditate. So it's like, it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's like I was there too. Like you just say with the fuck fast food thing, I was there too. Like, and it was
Mhm.
just like, yo, they trying
Those
to kill us. You know, they trying to kill us. Run, run. Don't eat that. You know, smacking out their hand. You know, don't eat that. I never did that. But but that yeah, it's just not the way, man. It's just
Mhm.
not the way. You would be running. You would be chasing. Man, whatever you want to say. You would be, if you're trying to fight the government, you'll be chasing right behind the government. You'll be running, you'll be chasing them forever. If that's your focus, is government, 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 or you know, or bad food, bad food, bad food. You know, you'll be chasing bad food forever,
Yeah.
forever. That's
And
yeah,
even the
forever.
talking about food, I mean, what I'm seeing a lot of right now is the war between like, you know, it's a subtle war, but it's a war of such, like between like extreme vegans and extreme like carnivores. That's running rampant
Yeah,
right now. And
yeah,
you know, I'm in the yoga scene and the whole spiritual scene. I
yeah.
get it, and I've been vegan before, and I
Mm,
respect it, and it's a
mm,
beautiful life choice. But when it's done again with that kind of vegan warrior mentality of everyone that eats meat is evil. And I mean, I've literally seen this. I saw it the other day of um, someone posted a picture of the Dalai Lama getting a vaccination.
mm-hmm.
And this was a quote unquote spiritual dude that posted the photo of pretty much giving him shit for getting a vaccination. And then
Yeah.
just a whole thread of vicious comments calling the Dalai Lama a hoax and evil. I thought he was evil ever since he started eating meat again, and like it was just
Yeah.
vicious towards the Dalai
Vicious.
Lama. And
Right.
again, these were all apparently like yogis and spiritual folks I know, and again, spiritual
Yeah. It's
names and light
hey
workers
man,
and
you gotta clip
angry
this. You
and
gotta clip
vicious.
this one. You gotta clip this one, what you just
Yeah,
said, because
right.
you have to clip this because yes, because man, I tell people you gotta be careful with this, like even spirituality stuff.
Mhm.
Like where is this source coming from? Is this just
Right,
extreme? Is this just a screenshot with no quote, no, or
right.
no, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't say uh 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 something, 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 something
Mhm.
Tech Not Han. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like by Tech Not Han, like it's not, it's just something there. And they're like, oh, it spoke to me. And it's just
Mhm.
like it's just like where are these, like where are your sources coming from? And a lot of
Right.
people get their spirituality from the internet. Not saying that it's wrong, but at the same time it's very vast. The internet is very 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 vast, and that's where my blessing did come in, is because everything I got was like from person to person handshake, someone telling me about a book. You know, not, I did not learn about any book from online. Every book is all like meeting a person and then they saying, hey, you should read this book, you know. And that's how my spiritual journey started, you know. And then meeting people, and after reading and reading, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to meditate now. Boom, I ran into MC Yogi and Noah Levine, and and Noah was like, hey, yeah, you should go to Insight Meditation Charlotte. And it's like this big meditation Buddhist group there. And I'm sitting down and I'm meditating, with this big meditation Buddhist group. And that's where my teachings are coming from, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it's just, yeah, it's like you have a lot of people out there that it's a lot of it's we're human beings, and every human being has an ego, unless you're a super being, unless you're a guru, unless you're Neem Karoli Baba. Every human being has an ego, and sometimes it can be taken. Sometimes everything's not going to be clear. They might say something beautiful, and that is clear, and that is true, and it's true. But then they might say something that's integrated with their past childhood trauma, and they're like, it might not be true for this person, but yet since this person said it, they're going to believe it. It's yeah, yeah, yeah. I used to be the same way with, like, when you're talking about the vaccination thing.
Mhm.
Oh man, if I've never gone, like, like again, Ram Dass, man, Ram Dass, he's sitting there talking about Larry Brilliance. I think it was Larry Brilliance. I think it was Dr. Larry
Yeah,
Brilliance
Larry Brilliant. Yeah.
with the smallpox.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then how they went over there and like and damn near cured them two, or that not them two, but the little convoy that they were with damn near went over there and ended smallpox for their like the world, and it's just like, or the rest of the world that did have it. Like it with the vaccination, with the vaccination. So that right there opened up my eye to what vaccinations. Like, maybe they're not all bad,
I know.
like, not saying like, I'm not sitting out there saying like, oh, I'm gonna get a vaccine, but it made me say, and it just opened up my, it just opened,
Yeah,
like,
I
it
hear
just
you.
opened it up, man. Like,
Yeah, I've fallen into that as well of being extremely anti-vax, but it was so uninformed. It was so
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
uh,
mm-hmm,
overly aggressive and holding
mm-hmm,
to a ideology, really, and
mm-hmm,
a story that wasn't actually informed. Like it kind of comes from our current privilege in which we've had these vaccinations, which, I mean, just a couple generations ago, whatever, the life expectancy was way lower,
mm-hmm,
partially due to vaccinations, So
mm-hmm.
I think
Right.
there's a lot more nuance and middle ground in which,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, they can be shit, they can be scary. I don't agree that babies at birth should be pumped with as many vaccinations as they currently are. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a bit over the top. So, like,
Mm-hmm. Me too.
baby,
I agree with
get them on
that.
the boob, get them feeding breast milk, and like strengthen their immune system that way. Then later,
Mm,
when they're a bit more robust and older, gradually bring in some vaccines that you.
right.
But do you need Hep B at birth? I don't know about that. And
Right.
I mean, you get heaps at birth now, which is just, it is crazy. It's just over the top. But
Yeah.
yeah, as a family, like Joe, my wife, and I, we've been having these conversations for years of like
Mm,
observing that we were actually holding strong to a standpoint on vaccinations that was actually ignorant. We didn't actually have the
mm.
full picture. And just through
Wow.
having more conversations and
Did you
reading,
guys did you guys come to that understanding together, or did she come first, or did you come to it first? Like,
she did more reading, she did more research,
uh
she asked more questions. I, to be honest, I adapted with more her findings,
mm,
and then would sometimes pull her up on certain findings and then do a bit more research myself. And it's been a
mm-hmm.
journey, It wasn't like immediate. It was like a, a whole lot of years of, I think, maturing as well and not being so
Man.
just so quick to hold to an idea. A bit of maturing there.
Man, it's beyond maturing. It's just open-mindedness.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because like, Man, vaccine, like someone being anti-vax, and then someone's like both of or two people being anti-vax. That was your situation, and then your wife started. I'm not gonna say being pro-vax, but started doing research on vaccines and started showing you the way how like it went very good, which is great. And I was just in love because
Mhm.
man, um, that can start a bad argument.
Yeah,
Of being
totally.
anti something and then someone starts to merge over to a different perspective, and
Mhm.
you've known this person for so long and you guys
Right.
been this way for so long, and then they start to merge like what are you doing looking that up, like like
Yeah.
man, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
thanks for observing that, man. Because it seems like we need a whole lot more of that right now. There's so many polarizing ideas right now, and what's going on a lot right now with the censorship and
Mm,
blocking people out. So we create our
mm-hmm.
own tribal echo chamber where we're
Yeah.
all on the same page, we're all agreeing about whatever. And
Right.
anyone
Yeah.
that doesn't agree, we block them out, we censor them out. But
Yeah.
we need to be able to disagree, don't we? And actually talk about it and love each other regardless. And that's how we're
Yeah.
gonna learn some shit through these interesting times. Whereas if we just block people out that don't agree with us,
Mm-hmm.
we're totally
Mm,
missing the point right there,
yeah.
aren't we?
Right. Right. The powers of the, or however it's said. Yep. It's man.
It's huge
I
though.
sit
I mean,
there. It's big. I sit
it's
there. I
big.
was again. I'm just gonna start saying it instead of saying, "Man, again, here he goes again, Ram Dass." I'm just gonna
No,
say it like,
man. I mean, this is how we met, through the Ram
yeah,
Dass cruise. So,
right,
I mean,
right.
he's our man.
I was super anti-political,
Right.
super. And then I think there was a Ram Dass. He used to have like three documentaries on Netflix. He used to have, like him and Timothy Leary had one. Now it's only one. I think it's Going Home. But he used to have like three of them up there.
Mhm.
There was one, and it might be Going Home, but they showed like a little puja table, and it showed like his little meditation table, and on there he had a picture of Barack Obama, and I was like, huh. It's just it didn't make me say, oh, I'm gonna vote. You know what I'm saying? But it
Right.
made me say, huh, what if politics are very, 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 very important? What if they aren't
Mhm.
all bullshit? That's what it struck in my head. That's what it
Yeah.
struck in my head. So
He
yeah,
also had Trump on there as well, huh?
he probably did, most likely. I
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
at the
know.
time, I mean, I know it's a loaded conversation now, but I remember at the
Yeah.
time, he he had in him a reaction towards Trump that he
Mm-hmm.
felt was closing his heart and bringing up
Mm-hmm.
anger. So
Mm-hmm.
part of his practice was to put Trump
Putting
on his
Trump
table
up there. Mm-hmm.
and connect with his soul and love him
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
and
don't
do the
I
work. Yeah.
I yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know about if he had Trump up there, but I wouldn't. But I know that in a lecture he did say it was some president. I forgot who it
Mhm.
was that he just could not stand.
I'm
He
pretty sure
could not
Trump. Yeah,
stand.
yeah.
No, it
But
was before. No, it was before Trump. It was like this was like
okay.
in like the 60s, 70s,
Yeah,
and
I know the talk you're talking about. Yeah, I forget who it is as
yeah,
well. Mhm.
he could not. He was a president. He just could not stand this person.
Yeah.
So he put him on the puja table and he said, "I love you." And he said, "I love you. I 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 love you." And yeah, man, it makes you think. Makes me think. I mean, Ram Dass is like different generation and everything like that. So he he was like he was always into the like the politic type stuff. So but just seeing him put that up there because that was his thing makes me think, who do I need to put on my puja table? Is it called puja table? It's called puja table, right? Puja
Yeah,
table.
yeah.
All right, yeah. Who
Uh-huh.
do I need to put on my puja table and say, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you,
Right.
I love you. You know, who's disturbing me? Who who is disturbing me? Who is it that brings me down? You know, when I'm feeling great, and who just brings me down? They need a picture up there, you know, and I
Man, we
need to
need a
start
whole
sending
lot of that
love.
right now, don't we?
Yeah, yeah, man.
Collectively.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Collectively, definitely a lot of love, a lot of love, a lot of love. So that, yeah, yeah, a lot of love. That's why I like.
Yeah.
That's why I like Marianne Williamson a lot.
Hmm.
Love, love. I told somebody, I said, now that's somebody I would go out there with a shirt on and
Hmm.
and campaign for. You know, that's someone I would go out there. You're like, you need to vote. Your voice needs to be heard. Yeah, you know, yeah,
Yeah.
love,
Mm.
love. Yeah, mm,
So
yeah.
Brandon, we keep talking about Ramdas. Let's talk a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more about him. It's the
Okay.
50th year anniversary of Be Here Now, which
Mm-hmm.
I had a similar experience actually when I first read it. And it was so trippy. Like, yeah, it was so trippy. Again, the white pages, which were really speaking to me as well, of real yoga practices and ways of bringing spirituality into daily life and his journey. And then when it got to the brown pages, where again, it at first it did my head in. Like it was so confusing to
Mm-hmm.
be reading this book and then all of a sudden be seeing these images of psychedelic experiences and see these images of God and spirit and love. It I remember the potency of reading it for the first time, of it both being confusing, blissful, like everything in one.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a
Mm-hmm.
epic book for so many people. Can you talk a little bit more about like your journey through that book? I know you said you got more from the lectures, right? Which I can also vibe with as well. I remember um, I could not help myself when I was reading Be Here Now. I needed to log on to his archive of lectures, and that's what really helped me get what he was talking about in that book, which I
Mm-hmm.
think us just vibing off at that initial experience can
Mm-hmm.
help people as well. Because I've heard from some students and friends, like they haven't really understood my love and devotion for Ram Dass. They haven't gotten it. Like, because I'm in the
Mm-hmm.
yoga scene,
Mm-hmm.
and the a common experience for the modern day yogi is physical obsession.
Mm-hmm.
And then they see me as my main teacher, Ram Dass,
Mm-hmm.
his last 20 years or so, in a wheelchair, not doing handstands and shit.
Who knows,
And
man? Maybe behind Uncle Soul's
maybe
doors, Ron Dawes would get up there. Ron Dawes would get up there and go into crane position, you know, flying lotus, like sitting lotus, like who
who
knows? Who
knows?
knows?
But yeah, it confuses some modern day yogis. But then when
You're right.
they when and then reading Be Here Now, which most people recommend, like, oh, you got to read Be Here Now, and then
Mm-hmm.
some of them further get confused because it's so
Mm-hmm.
just deep and trippy.
Yeah, it's very trippy. Very,
But the
very, very trippy.
lectures, I think, helps people assimilate the just out there what he was experiencing when he wrote Be Here Now, that 60s, 70s, just epic psychedelic time. And then his lectures, in which he was known to have the golden tongue, right? And
Mm-hmm.
just I
Man,
once
man.
people hear him and feel him, I
Mm-hmm.
think that helps the teachings from Be Here Now and then his books to come after that really land because it's so tricky, like with words, and he admitted it all the time. He's trying to describe the
Mm,
indescribable, and it's beautiful. I mean,
mm,
it's so sad how much suffering he went through post stroke, but it
mm,
seems like that deepened the transmission of his teachings, in which
mm,
there was more space to just let that love transmit. But I'll stop yapping
mm.
on. I'd just love to hear more about your integration of his teachings and your journey from Be Here Now through to now. Now.
To now, man. Oh man. For me, what do you? I mean, what exactly do you want to like? Not exactly do you want to know, but what exactly are you asking though? Is it like what are you
Oh,
asking me?
what am I asking? I mean, I don't know what I'm asking, to be
Because I
honest.
felt it all when you were talking. I just
Yeah,
felt
yeah,
it.
yeah. Right.
I just felt
It's
it.
a,
I was like,
yeah.
I don't know what to say now.
I
I
was
just
just
felt
vibing.
it.
So
Yeah, I
50th
felt
year
it.
anniversary,
Felt it.
really giving such bows to Ram Dass and Be Here
It's
Now, celebrating the 50th year anniversary.
mm,
And yeah, again, I brought in the piece of like people I keep meeting that don't quite get it.
I
They're
I I
like,
okay, so I run into that.
right.
And I run into that a lot. Um,
We don't want to be like fuck fast food. Like, you gotta love Ram Dass.
right, and I'm not
Generic.
like that, and I'm not like that at all. I will say something about him.
Yeah.
I would say something about him if they don't know about him or whatever, and like, oh, always like, oh, what about Alan Watts? Oh, what about Terrence McKenna? Yeah, I know Terrence McKenna. Okay, yeah, well, and then I was like, yeah, well, everybody's a bit, and like, and I would tell them like about Ron Doss and things of that nature. Sometimes they'd be interested, sometimes they weren't, sometimes they'll act as if they are interested. But I would tell somebody, but I wouldn't just go to some random person. It's only when things are brought up, when they start talking about being astral beings, when they start talking about that 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 being in the place, being in the present, that's when I would bring it up. Or if they're talking about psychedelics, or they're talking about love, or they're like true, like love, like, then I'll bring it up. But only bring it up with an opening. But usually, sometimes I think some people already know of it. Um, but when I come across somebody that just doesn't get it though, I let them not get it.
For
I let
sure.
them not get it. It's a feeling. It is a feeling. It is a feeling. It's a
Mhm.
feeling. It's just like, it's just when you feel it, you feel it. If you don't feel it, then you don't feel it, If you don't feel it, you don't feel it. I've before I knew what a Neem Karoli Baba was or a Ram Dass was, I was looking up and researching the heck out of uh Yogananda and Sri Yukteswar.
Yeah, I
I'm
went
like, yeah, I went
did that as well.
in, and and then there's a what is it, SRF,
Mhm.
Self-Realization Foundation. There's they have like a little space here in Charlotte. And I was like, oh, really? That's a calling, And I go there and I went and I meditated like in the center with them and everything like that. And we sang and stuff.
Yeah,
And I never went back.
it's a beautiful lineage. I went deep
Yeah,
into that as well. It was great.
yeah,
It
yeah.
is
And
great.
yeah, it
Mhm.
is. And but nothing, it didn't hit me. It didn't hit me like Ron Doss hit me, it didn't hit me like Neem Karoli. It didn't, I have him tatted. I have that Neem Karoli tattooed.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
yeah, I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's well done. That's
yeah.
beautiful.
That's straight out of Be Here Now too, as well. Yeah, that picture. But I yeah, it just didn't. It's not because he's famous guru in India. You know, it's not that because Yogananda is more famous. You know, it's just it was just what pulled me in. It was just
No,
what
I
pulled
hear
me
you.
in. You
Yeah.
know, and if it doesn't pull somebody else in, then it doesn't pull someone else in. But
Mhm.
it will pull people in, and it's gonna continue to pull people in. Um, like I said before, when I said I started reading, and then I went I went and I met MC Yogi and Noah Levine. I didn't They were at Wonderlust. They were hosting Wonderlust. I didn't know what Wonderlust was, you know, and I just like honestly what happened is my friend, he was like, "Hey, take me to Mellow Mushroom." Look at that. Take me to That's crazy. I'm just now thinking about that, putting that together and piecing it how Mellow Mushroom is like
Yeah.
psychedelic, you know, like psychedelic, got like all these high ass mushrooms in there and stuff like that. But he was like, "Hey, take me to Mellow Mushroom to see this girl. She's working there." And I was like, "Okay, cool." I get in the car, drive him there, and then we're sitting there talking to her. She was like, "Oh my God, I can't wait till 5:30." We're like, "Why?" And she was like, "I'm about to get a whole bunch of tips." What do you mean? Why are you gonna get tips at 5:30? She was like, "You don't see all those white people across the street doing yoga in the park?" And I said, "Huh?" And I walked outside and I just seen like thousands of people like laying down in the grass doing yoga. And I was like, "What is this?" I was like, "What is this?" And then I walk across the street and then I hear somebody on the mic saying, "In one lifetime, you'll go through 10,000 sorrows and 10,000 joys." And I was like, "Oh, what is that?" And I went up to a security guard and I was like, "Hey, that person that just said that, what is he reading?" They was like, "Oh, that's Noah Levine. I think he has like a booth over there. I think he's reading out his book. You can go check it out." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." I just go over there. I didn't know you had to pay. I just walked in and I went to the security and I was like, "Hey, what is that?" And oh yeah, just go over there to check it out. So I was like, "All right." So I walked over there and then I'm like looking at his book. Next thing you know, the festival's over and he's standing right there. So I go up to him and well, I go in line. I was like, "Well, I'm gonna go ahead and purchase his book and I'm going to get it autographed." Um, Around this time, I had only read two books. I had only read um, the Four Agreements and the Power of Now, and I didn't even finish the Power of Now. So yeah, but I was like halfway in there, you know, around that time, and I stood in line and I waited to meet him, and he was there, and I walked up and he shook my hand, and when he shook my hand, oh my gosh, ah man, when he shook my hand, every worry, every fear, every man, everything that I had been reading about of being a hindrance of things, everything that I had been reading about and comprehending, but yet still needed to do the self work to get rid of, was gone. Um, I believe that if I had done more research, if I had read more books before that time and done more research and more work, I probably would have like it reminded me of when Sri Yukteswar put his hand on Yogananda in the book, and Yogananda was talking about how the walls went transparent and he seen like someone walking a bull, and then when Sri Sar took his hand off of him, he looked out the window and he seen that bull that he seen that was coming down the street. He looked right at time and seen the bull walking. It reminded me of that, but it wasn't like it was nothing. Don't get me wrong, people. It was nothing like I didn't physically, you know what I'm saying? Like see, like nothing went transparent or anything like that. I just felt like everything just
Mhm.
like in my everything in my body just flushed out that I had been studying on and been wanting to work on, and everything just went away. And I said, "Wow." And he smiled. He said, and I said, "Wow." And then he's like, "Yeah." And I
Yeah.
said, "Wow" again. And then he let goes of my hand. He changes the subject. He changes the subject.
Mm.
And that and then that so those were like really the first people that I met in the spiritual journey. And fast forward, to make it short because it's a pretty long story. But fast forward, I'm listening. I find out that Ram Dass had a company with Stephen Levine, and it was like they were like, I forgot what it was, but they was I forgot the name of it, but they would basically sit with people that were on their deathbed and
Yeah, the
walk them
dying
through death.
center. Yeah.
Yeah, the dying center. Yeah, and they would yeah, and they would walk them through it and tell them what they're gonna expect and
Mhm.
ask them what they want to do before they die, who they want to talk to, or talk, walk them through it. Um, and I had known that, but what I didn't know that Stephen Levine was Noah Levine's dad. So yeah, so it was pretty, yeah, it was a pretty wild trip, but I had already had those mind fuck moments so many times with Ram Dass already, but like that was the whole tie-in. You know what I'm saying? That was like the official tie-in. I was like, all right, I get it. Like, okay, you're here. You're like, you know what I'm saying? That was the official tie-in right there. But before that, it was just little ones, pop, 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 just popping up everywhere. Pop, 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 pop. I go to MC Yogi. I was watching a thing, a documentary on Netflix, and I heard the song playing, and I was like, "Hey Siri, what's the name of this song?" And they started listening, and it was like, "Oh, it's such and such by Krishna Das." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I started listening to that, and I started googling Krishna Das, and I started meditating to Krishna Das, and that was before and then after that I went, went and met Noah, and I met MC Yogi, and I was looking on the back of MC Yogi's CD, and it said featuring Krishna Das. I was like, oh shit, you got a song with Krishna Das, and it's, and then after that I learned that Krishna Das and Ram Dass were like best buddies. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, yeah. And then, but it all started before my spiritual journey, my spiritual work. It all started with Alan Watts talking, and it went in one ear and out the other.
Mhm.
One day I got high and I heard him say something, and I said, "Is this motherfucker trying to say I'm God?" But but it was just hinting at it. And it was just like, I was just like sitting there thinking, like, what is he talking about? But one day it hit a little bit. But I was just, even when it wasn't hitting, I was just constantly listening, hoping that he would tell me I wasn't crazy, basically, listening and listening and listening and listening, hoping to find something that I've been thinking about, or hoping to hear something that I've been also thinking. And but he has an articulate way of talking, so it was pretty hard for me to really grasp. And like man, off topic, but Autobiography of a Yogi is a hard book to read. Like, that vocabulary is like, if
Yeah.
your vocabulary isn't up there with this, it's like, man, you sure this guy wasn't like American? Like, look at this vocabulary. But
Talk about mind fuck. That's a
yeah,
huge mind fuck. I loved it though.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. So, but Alan Watts was the first one where I was like sitting there thinking, like, what is this person saying? I don't know what he's saying, but it sounds interesting. It sounds like it's close to
Mhm.
what I'm thinking about, but I just had nothing to confirm to say what I was thinking about was true. And um, I was listening to a Ram Dass lecture one day, and then Ram Dass says, "So I was in a drinking session with a buddy of mine named Alan Watts," and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was just like, "Wait." And it was, and because I call it like a web. It was just like everything is just connected. Everything,
Yeah.
I can go back and I can connect more. I'm just not, because I'll be here forever, but it's just the mellow mushroom is a new connection. Like, you can't tell me that wasn't inspired by psychedelics. The mellow mushroom is a new connection. I just realized by talking to you. Hey, let's go to mellow mushroom where this girl works. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Hey, people over there doing yoga in the park. Oh, okay. Yikes, like,
Yeah.
yikes, like, that's like, those are my magic moments. Those are my
Mhm.
magic moments. That's the stuff that that's the magic that Ram Dass does, Neem Karoli does, that gets me. That's what, like some people need to see people walk through walls or, levitate or something like that. That's what gets me, that lets me know, oh, it's true.
Yeah.
Oh, it is real. Oh, I do believe. You know, those moments like that. Fucking oh mushroom, man. And I'm go there and I meet the guy whose dad was business partners and best buddies with one of the pioneers of psychedelics in America. And it just never, it's gonna keep happening. It's gonna keep happening. Mangala is like so dope. She's like a friend now. Like I love Mangala. She's like so freaking dope. Like so dope. And
It's a
one of
great
my
crew.
yeah, and one of my favorite Krishna Das songs I just came across. I'm sorry, I didn't just come across, but I just realized one of my favorite Krishna Das songs, like or my favorite Krishna Das song of all time, first line is Mangala Kali. And I just realized that, and I was just like, wait, like I mean, we can, yeah, I mean, we can, I can, it is just, it's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening every time it happens. It's just like, it's inevitable. It's like, it's more expected now, it's more expected, yeah. So, yeah.
Amazing. Brandon, let's focus
Cool.
on you before we wrap this up. Anything
All right.
you want to share with our listeners? Like, you got anything getting released soon or your latest release? What are you excited about right now?
Oh man, so I had just released a song on YouTube called Superpowers.
That's
Um
great.
I appreciate it, man. It's basically about talking to a girl and wanting to show a girl something, so you don't have all these worldly things that other people have, but you have superpowers. You can use superpowers, and what are your superpowers? Your superpowers, your personality, your charm, um any skill that you have, any talent that you have, uh your soul, your heart, your smile, your presence, your superpower. And it can go a very, 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 very long way. It can go a very long. Money can be a superpower. Like, I mean, if you want to take it there, but whatever someone feels like their superpower is, um, it's like, yeah, it's a pretty. I really, really like the song. I really, really like it. But that's on YouTube. Superpowers by Jetpack Brandon. Also coming up, I have a performance April 16th. Um, with Ram Dass for the Soul Land Music Series. And that's going to be very, very, very cool. So definitely make sure you guys check that out as well. And also my album, Neon Burger. Neon Burgers, which is the reason why me and Stuart are sitting here talking. Because yeah, if Mangala didn't find me on Facebook, like I would have never, yeah, and she would have
Thank you,
never
Neon
found me if
Burger.
I,
Thank you,
yeah,
Mangala.
Neon Burger. Listen to that, and that's on all streaming platforms. Every streaming platform you could think of. Neon Burger is on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, YouTube, uh, uh title, yeah, everything. So definitely give that a listen. It's very good trip music. Very good trip music. Whether you're tripping or you're just tripping. very, very good. It's just and it's good life music. Just driving in a car. It's just it's an insight into my world. And it's definitely a little voyage. It's definitely a voyage. And yeah, I just hope everyone enjoys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brandon. So good to connect. You're a beautiful human being and
Thank
a
you.
real honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Rum, rum, rum,
Rum,
rum.
rum, rum.
Yes.
All the
Yeah,
best.
definitely. I appreciate you reaching out to me, and yeah, definitely meant a lot. And I was glad that we were able to go ahead and get this through. Interviews are therapeutic for me. I've learned. So yeah.
Yeah. I love it too. I love connecting with people like you and going deeper than just a little comment on WhatsApp or whatever, and really diving in
Yeah.
deep and having these conversations. I absolutely cherish them. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Definitely. We got to do this again. We got to do
Yeah,
this
for
again.
sure.
I think, and honestly, we got deep, but I think we
We
can
can go
get deeper.
deeper. Let's keep
Yeah, we
going.
can get way deeper. We can get yeah. We can get way deeper with it. Definitely. But
Well, we broke
this
the
is
ice today and we'll
yeah.
we'll keep the conversation going another time.
All right.
Much
All
love,
right.
Brandon. Take
All
care.
right, man. Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye. Love.